had a dream last night that people weren't just people living without their light. I had a dream last night that we all had only one goal in sight. I had a dream yesterday that all unnecessary suffering had finally gone away, where famine, greed, and everything in between had finally come to rest in the balance of harmony. I dreamt that wars were no more, and religion stopped using something so pure to divide one another by its influence on whose is the right God. I dreamed the air that we breathed was no longer polluted by greed, where the stagnant smell of self-indulgence no longer blinded us from our own intelligence. I dreamt of one race. Black, white, yellow, brown was no longer the way, because there are many more than just 4 shades of gray. I dreamed we are no longer living in an egotistical world of patriotism, no longer individualized by flags that we're taught to believe are representations of us, because we are all representations of our own selves. I dreamed that democracy meant democracy in the truest sense of fairness, that equality means equality, thus raising our level of awareness, where politicians do as we say and not turning the table so we only obey, where everyone was accepting and not rejecting just because they fall outside the paradigm of what we call a civilized society, a world where you could really be you and I could really be me, and we would meet in the middle creating perfect harmony. I dreamed we were unique, that we could never be the same, that schools had honored this, teaching kids to think more than one way. I dreamed being different didn't mean we were weak, that expressions of self is the best state to be. I dreamt that feuds were met with calmness, that we replaced hatred with love, that we met resistance with non-resistance because enough was enough, replacing disrespect for respect for one's emotional needs. And there was support for everyone regardless of creed, where we could walk up to a stranger with a proudly raised head and say, "I love you," without feeling like it shouldn't be said. I dreamt that gifts could be given to anyone by anyone for absolute no reason, that came natural, like the 4 seasons, where people gave with love without ulterior motive, opening their hearts to receive, to understand what real love is. I dreamt if we could create such imbalance, that we could create balance through change, and that everything's possible far beyond range. Confused at the time if I was asleep or awake, I couldn't tell what was real and what was fake. But then I woke up. I had woke up to nightmares I see before me today. I heard neighbors arguing, the media steering, the TV on with guns booming, Facebook posts with people slating, verbal clashes and personalities grading, a planet choking, kids dying, people starving, politicians lying, corporations robbing, banks robbing people, and it showed no signs of stopping. If you give, you shall receive. That's what I heard everywhere. Yet the people just took it, and it seemed none of them cared. I mean cared as in really cared. A world we don't own. I'm talking about a planet, a place we call home. I dreamed positive change could easily be real if we just open our hearts and we learn how to feel. I knew we should not let this just slip through our fingertips. And we all have the power to stop and reverse all this. I knew repair was possible, but it's never too late. Choosing lead by example and learn not to hate. Hearing, "I'll change tomorrow," and sat wondering how. But tomorrow is borrowed. They should be thinking about now. If people saw what I saw in my 5-minute dream, they would understand reason and understand what I mean. They would step away from a world that they see, changing themselves for the better, where they were finally free. This was my dream. And I was at peace with myself, knowing I was awakening to the possibility, knowing one day